when you talk about sales, we always refer to this particular thing about the sales formula. All right. In retail, regardless which position you just join in, or you're a senior, or maybe you're a PIC person in charge, you will really require to know what is the sales formula. Why? In sales, pretty much many people say that is a roller coaster. Now, I don't know, what do you think? Is it really like a roller coaster where something's go up and down? Probably yes, especially it depends on the peak season, the non-peak season. But here's the thing. For those who are not too familiar on what is the sales formula, here's a simple idea on what's it all about. Okay, because in this video, we're going to talk about on how can you really dissect in to the sales formula, and how can you really identify what other strategies you can work about. Okay, so here's something you really need to know. If you have a pen or paper, please get this and write it down. Sales equals to the number of transactions times average transaction times the number of returning customers. I repeat, sales equals to the number of transactions times average transaction value times the number of returning customers. It's that simple. Okay, now if you happen to go through any of the sales training, regardless of in-house training, or you go for an external training, or something even higher external trainer, they'll always tell you something like that. All right? Maybe the terms are a little bit different, but more or less it comes down to be in this manner. Okay, so I'm going to take some time to roughly explain what's it all about, and more importantly, what is the real secret behind this particular formula. Okay, so here it is. The number of transactions. Okay, I'm just going to quickly explain what's it all about. If you haven't been in retail for quite a while, you will be very familiar. End of the day, it comes back to how many number of transactions. For example, for that particular day, you have 10 transactions or 20 transactions. That is what we call as number of transactions. But it is actually more than just the number of transactions. If you really want to know how to maximize this particular factor on number of transactions, we always refer to on these two terms, leads and conversion rate. I repeat, leads and conversion rate. For those who are not familiar, maybe you come across the terms like walk-ins or customer. So that. Then conversion rate basically means how you convert these leads or these walk-ins or customer into a buying customer, or at least into your customer. Okay, so that's what we call as the conversion rate. Now the thing is this, if we really want to tap into it, you can actually look into how do you really increase your leads, or how do you increase your conversion rate. Now jot this down, because later I'm going to dissect even more detail on how you can make use of this part. Next one is about the number of transaction value. Okay, average transaction value refers to an average sales on how much you are keying into the system. For example, each sales that you actually made is about, let's say, $200. So that means almost every time you make a sales, around $200. All right. So this one, it refers to mainly one thing, which is about products. The question is that it can be the number of products, or maybe how high the product is being purchased. Okay, so common terms that you always hear is like upsell and cross-sell. Okay, so upsell means you upgrade the person. For example, if you're going to a sports shop, okay, buying a running shoe, for example. So you notice that as a salesperson, this customer is interested in this $100 running shoe. Then you try to understand more, and you found out that maybe the $150 running shoe suits this guy better for certain reasons. Okay, so probably because of the type of the foot, or maybe the interchangeable soles, or whatever it is. But more importantly, you have just upgraded from 100 to 150. Okay, so that's where we call it as upsell. Cross-sell, if you're using the same example, like selling a running shoe, you can always add on with a running shirt. Okay, so you have a great matching. Or maybe you can add on as running shirt plus running shorts or pants, running gears like your running backpack, or maybe a water bottle, or whatever it is. add on to your running shoe, that gives like a complete or holistic set. That's what we call as cross-selling. And the very common one they always use would be actually something that's smaller item like socks. Okay, so this is just an example on the average transaction value on how you can increase that. The number of returning customers. Okay, the last part is more to us on how comes back to you. We are referring to the same customer. We always refer this one as how loyal is the customer, but let's face a fact. How loyal are you to a brand? Okay, I would prefer to tell you straight away. In today's world, loyalty doesn't really mean much, especially for younger generations. Okay, because to them, everybody is offering about the same thing. If you're selling a sports shoe, this shop also selling another the same sports shoe, or maybe something similar design, similar function, or maybe another shop. Okay, it's different brand. They sell something similar from what they want. Price may be different. So does it mean that it's really hard to get the returning customer? It depends. All right, because I don't know. Some they leverage on using the brand name. Okay, for brands, for example, if we talk about sports, the first thing we can think about is like Adidas, Nike, Puma, Under Armour, and many other brands. Okay, so when we talk about like, of course, there are some of the brands they don't really have that much returning customer. For example, big things like cars. Okay, cars, you rarely see a person come back in 1-2 months to get another car. You rarely see that. But when we talk about fashion or fast-moving goods, okay, you get to see a lot of this kind of customer. Now, how do you really impact that? Okay, so number one, many people they will look into loyalty programs. This is heavily related on how you promote your brand. Okay, number two, many people always talk about customer service, but what I want you to know is about the experience. Okay, especially being different. Now, when you talk about different, it's more doesn't mean that you have to be better than other people. I'll take this for example. Okay, when we talk about birthday, okay, birthday normally many brands they will actually offer like some special birthday discounts. Some even actually get some messages through whether is it instant messaging on Facebook or email or even a call. Okay, just to wish happy birthday. Those are pretty normal because we just want to remind our customer that happy birthday. Wish you can actually shop at our shop, something like that. But the thing is that, is it really, now can we really do something different? Okay, because in many cases, everybody's doing the same thing. Now, some people, in order for the customer to really remember how great the whole thing is, I still remember one of the staff, he purposely went out of the shop to buy a small birthday cake for the customer as a token of appreciation. I mean, it's an own money, token of appreciation and to show happy birthday for it. Now, the thing is that, do you really have to go that far? It depends. Some even they just make a simple card, okay, just a normal piece of paper, okay, nicely folded, nicely written words like happy birthday or whatever it is. The whole idea is about be different. All right, be different. So that's how you actually gain the customer back. It's not just about the loyalty program, but rather the whole experience. Now, if you start to notice everything that I talk about, it's having two separate parts. Whether is it in terms on the external, I call it the external, and the internal. External, over here we are referring to anything outside of a person. For example, the layout of the store, the location of the store, the products, and everything else. Let's circle back for a bit. Okay, just now when we talk about increasing the number of transactions, okay, we talk about the marketing. Okay, how your advertising works, how's your promotion, how's your branding, how well is the connection or engagement through social media with your brand and the customer. Everything comes back to the branding of the company. So this is actually more like the external part. Okay, so if you really want to increase on that, it depends on also what is your position. But I want you to think as if you're a retailer, it'll be good to actually have a whole around what do you call an overview on every single aspect. Okay, so the external part for the first part is about the marketing. and perhaps on the layout of the store, or we call it as visual merchandising. This is practically important, especially if you're in a fashion area or fast-moving environment. Okay. The internal part on increasing the number of transactions normally refers to the ability of the staff to convert the customer. And I understand that if you're in the training team, you always feel that, but Daryl, isn't that supposed to be like our job? I mean, as a retail trainer, it is our job to help convert, or rather help the staff to convert the customer or walk-ins into our buying customer. Yes, but let's just put it this way. Sometimes it doesn't really mean that the staff must be really good, but rather how good is the staff connecting to the customer. Okay, it has a huge relation on the communication skills. How well they communicate is between the staff and the customer. Now, this is very important because in many sales gurus or sales training, they always tell you that, oh, you will need to actually have a good communication, talk well, polite, you have to be professional, greetings, ask lots of questions, and many things, which no doubt is very true. But that's one thing that many people happen to miss out. And this is the reason why I come up with this particular video clip. The working environment. Okay, how well is the staff adapting to this particular working environment? I still remember when I just started working in this retail shop. When I started the career 12 years ago. And during that time, I had this particular feel that working as a promoter is not really nice because I'm actually a degree holder. Okay, I just graduated from university. I wanted to find a job in the office because I wanted to work in 9 to 5. Now here's the thing. Because of that, whenever I talk to customer, whenever I interact with my colleagues, I feel there's actually a barrier. I feel I cannot go more than that. But when I realize that it is me who actually create that particular barrier, everything just changed. In fact, I even create a goal for myself. Since almost everyone in the retail industry are non-degree holder, if I were to actually perform the same thing as they are, how good am I? I mean, I am a university student, and most of them they have not even the chance to even study university. I had that particular ego during that time. So in fact, that's one of the reasons why I really push myself to really learn more how to communicate well, both with the customer and both with their colleague. Okay. Now, because of that, it helps me on converting more walk-in, okay, to buying customer, because I feel happy. I feel that I am working really like in a team rather than going solo. Something really going solo, it's kind of lonely. And even though initially I thought that if I'm a degree, I should be able to finish all this, but it turns out to be very different, which is why the environment plays a very important thing in this area. Okay, so I want you to consider that how well are your staff, okay, working in that particular environment? Are there internal politics? Are there like people creating groups? All right, because sometimes there's just too many people in the whole store. You will start to actually have this group name 2%, 3%, 5%, something like that. So it doesn't really gel well. Even though we always emphasize teamwork is important, we help each other, but let's face the fact, how close are you with the team? How close are you with among the other colleague? Okay, it will be good. You can actually rate yourself 1 to 10. Be honest. Okay, comment in the chat below. Okay, so how well are you working with your team? 1 to 10, 10 being super well, even closer than your own family. Okay, so comment down below and let me know about it. That's just the first part. The second part is about average transaction value. Okay, so average transaction value, as I talked about, it has everything to do with your product. Okay, whether is the product available or not, whenever you advertise, how if you do not really have the particular product, is there any other alternative, or how can you change the post, everything. All these are also in conjunction with the first element, which is about the number of transactions. Okay, even though there is some element in connection, it is important to know that these are some things you have to work about. Okay, what are your top sellers? Make sure you have at least 2 to 3 months stock, depending on which area you're in. Are you in this health industry, or are you in the fast moving or toiletries, or whatever it is? You must know about this area. Then the second part, which is on the internal part, is more towards on the skill of the staff. That's where a lot of sales training comes in. Okay, in most of the sales training, they actually tell you that you must tell about the features, the advantages, and the benefits of the product. But let's put it this way, okay? Even if you really tell everything, sometimes people just feel, oh, okay, thank you. And in most cases, some of the staff, they feel, why am I wasting my time? I mean, I've stayed like over an hour, or maybe even 2 or 3 hours just to serve you, and you're not even buying from me. Here's the thing. Coming back to not just about their skill of how to talk to customer, it'll be even better for the salesperson to understand what are the needs of the customer. Okay, if we talk about the needs of the customer, we're going to talk on a separate video, because that's going to take even longer time. But for now, let's just give you an overview how you can actually tap into it. One thing that many people tend to forget, okay, in this particular area is sometimes it's about the mindset of feeling abundance, feeling grateful. Now, how does that even really help into this particular area? Now, let's just put it this way. The moment you had the mindset that, okay, I'm going to sell, for example, today my target is to sell $50 of items. $50 items, so I have set the target, or maybe even $100. I set some of the items that I want to sell. I keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, because I feel that there's not many customers going to come in, so I have to really take good care of these opportunities, which is not wrong, okay, by the way. It's a great thing, but sometimes this makes you feel very desperate. Imagine this, okay? A person comes to you then, please buy from me, please. Now, this is really good. I know you will need it, okay? No sales, just support me. Come on, please. How do you about that? Ask the customer, right? Now, I know some of you may not really like it, but I'm not gonna go for a person who's like so needy. In fact, one of my mentor, Dan Locke, okay, he shared with me that needy is creepy. Okay, so if you really want to be good in sales, one of the first steps you have to do is being not attached to the result. What do you mean by that? Being not attached to the result. It's all about how you view it. For example, the reason why I serve you is to understand about you as a customer. I'm not trying to sell anything, because I don't know what I'm going to sell, but I want to know why you're even here. I mean, what brought you here? So in fact, if you really want to ask the customer, first question, so by the way, sir, or Mr. Prospect, what brought you here? Something like that, something simple. Reason being, there has to be something that attract them. Okay, but of course, there'll be some of the terms that you actually have to avoid, but that's going to come to the next video. Okay, the whole idea is that it's all about, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to give you value. Whatever that I know about my knowledge, my value, everything that I know about other customers, I'm here to support you. Even if you don't buy, it's fine, because more importantly, I have to help you. That's it. It's not about I expect that you come in to buy again. Nope. But rather, the feeling of just giving value, gratitude, abundance, that kind of feeling, when you are able to express or undergo that kind of experience, people will feel that, wow, this person is sincere, and I can trust this person. Okay? In fact, people who are actually needy, whatever, they get the feel, I mean, as a customer, you get the feel as, this person just want to earn my money. I don't think I can really trust every single word that he or she is talking about. Ever had that kind of experience? Okay, so that's also about the mindset as a salesperson. Okay, so the last part about the returning customer. If you start to notice when I talk about this, two areas, the loyalty program, that has to do with the external because it is all about the system. One suggestion that I strongly encourage is make your loyalty program as simple as possible to join it. Here's the thing. If you're trying to actually create an app for people to download just because everybody's doing it, well, it's fine because anyhow, if you are able to create an app, people feel, wow, your company must be quite well. I mean, you can even create an app. True, but how frequent is the person going to download? And more importantly, do they really need to fill up a lot of paperwork or key in a lot of things? Those are things that people don't really want to do. In fact, the moment I just give you maybe like my contact number or maybe certain number, I can just be a member. That's great. You must always revert back, think back on this particular question. Why do you think you need even a loyalty program? Okay, I want you to ponder for this a little while. Why do you think you need even a loyalty program? Comment in the chat below. Why do you think you need a loyalty program? For some of us, we feel that loyalty program is a must because everybody's doing it. Okay, if I'm not doing it, I'm missing out. Others may say that with a loyalty program, people will start to remember us and buy from us. It may be true 20 years ago. But today, how many brands are having the same thing? How can you stand out of the crowd? How can people remember you? And remember, the wallet or purse is only that big. Okay, I'm talking about money. Okay, the take-home pay is only that much. Say, for example, the take-home pay is about 5,000, and they only have 5,000 to spend. Minusing all the commitment, how much do they have to spend? That's where you're also competing with other brands, even competitor who are not directly related to you. Okay, so in fact, I would strongly encourage you to think back. If your objective is just to what do you call, get the customer data, so well, that'll be great. All you need to do is just get some information. So in future, you have any new product launches, wherever you have a customer database. Okay, this customer database will be very powerful for your future launches, or even to do any returning customer special treatment, because that's what many companies are trying to do. For example, if they want to launch like a new VVIP event, or maybe a new product launch or a relaunch because of success of certain product, you have that list of customers. To my surprise, many established don't really have even, I'm talking about 10-year company, okay? A 10-year company, a retailer, doesn't even have up to 1,000 customer email address or even phone number. No. How, I don't know, tell me, how do you think about it? For 10 years, you don't even have up to 1,000 customers. And by the way, based on the record, you have easily more than 300 transactions per month. 10 years, you only have 1,000 customers. And by all means, it's not about how only those who are spending more than a certain amount that you get. No, this particular company is like, just want to get the data. So I strongly encourage you to think back, why are you even creating this loyalty program? How would you want them to give their information? Because we know that nowadays personal data protection is very important. So what would make them give this information to you? How would you make them to come back more? Think back, okay? The next part on retaining customer, on the stuff which is internal part, is all about the journey, the experience. Now let's face it, customers nowadays love to go online, not just offline, which is going to your store, but also online. I know that many retailers, they pretty much blame the e-commerce for taking away the business, but you can't really stop people from shopping that way, because me as a retail psychologist, I also shop online too. But the thing is that I still love to shop. I mean, going to shopping malls to shop around. Why? Because the atmosphere, the feeling of interacting with people is totally different. You can't just take away through what they call using a mobile phone just to go through all this. Okay, so in fact, if you're able to make the whole journey smoother. Some of them we call it as omni-channel. Okay, regardless you go online or you go offline, it's pretty much the same. That's one way you can actually have more returning customer. The challenge is that many retailers, they don't really know how to tap into it, but rather they make an enemy on e-commerce and so on. Some even that, okay, I know the e-commerce is the trend, so they start to create a website and hopefully to sell some of the items from there. What do you think? Is it really working? I don't know. Okay, only you can answer. But let's say if you're just a startup, how can you make this happen? Well, more importantly, it's just like what I shared about the birthday example. You just need to be a bit different, make the whole journey a different experience. Doesn't mean you have to be an extremely group, which is really what we want or what we hope, but more to us on how would you create a very fun and a memorable way. Okay, so maybe it's how you interact. Again, this is also something that most sales trainers do not cover, which is your environment. Customers are not dumb. They don't. It's not to say that they can't sense how good are you between the staff and the other colleagues. Okay, if they feel that, man, the interaction with these colleagues are not so good, and I don't feel comfortable buying from you anyway. All right. So it is all depending on the environment, how the interaction on between the team members and how the whole team react. Again, it is not just about the words that we are a team, we have to work as a team. Rate yourself 1 to 10 where you are. Okay, comment in the chat below. Right? So there you have it. These are actually some of the areas. It's not just about the external, not just about internal, but there's always a secret on how you can increase your sales. The hidden secret from the sales formula. Now, if you want to learn more about increasing sales or even some of the retail